Okay, we're going to get something going here sooner or later.
I know.
Every now and then, things move a little slowly here, and we're relaxed. It's a mellow Sunday night. So anyway, here we are. Welcome, everybody. And we're still getting all the technical stuff set up here, moving around.
In the jungle.
Changing the direction of the mics, etc. So hope everybody out there is having a great weekend. And Catherine Foley, welcome.
Hi.
How is your weekend going?
Oh, it's really good. It was quiet and snowy, and I got some time to hang out at the house, play with the dog, which I love.
Great.
So it was good.
'Tis the winter, obviously, and anybody that couldn't tell, just look out the window because it seems like we've had more snow in the first 3 weeks or so of winter than we had in about the entire winter last year. Wow.
Yeah, we have.
Good. I had a great ski trip planned. Never made it.
Yeah.
Never went, unfortunately. But there's a makeup. There's a rain date for that ski trip. So
snow date.
A snow date. There's going to be some great skiing this winter, I would imagine. So.
Well, today, the snow has been really light and fluffy, and it hasn't really been too cold. I mean, one of the hardest things about skiing on the East Coast is when it freezes
chill
over.
It keeps you from moving.
Yeah, the one time I tried snowboarding, and then you catch one of your edges and superwoman down the hill. It's quite an experience on icy slopes.
No question about that. Well, we're going to talk this evening about a remarkable discovery, research discovery of recent scientific finding. And I think that so many folks are aware of CoQ10, but they're probably not aware of a couple really important specifics regarding CoQ10. For example, the difference between ubiquinol and ubiquinone, and some of the recent research regarding the supplementing of ubiquinol in patients with advanced congestive heart failure.
Right.
What a remarkable study that is. And it's something that researchers have been really hunting for quite some time, and finally they landed the big fish.
Yeah, they've been looking for the serum Q levels to rise to a certain point to be clinically effective, and CoQ10 has always had absorption issues. Number one, it was hard to synthesize in the first place. We always knew that it was there. It was discovered in the 1950s by Dr. Folkers and Jean-Paul Lautaro, and once they isolated it, they were able to, over the course, I think it was about 20 years, get it into a stable form so it can be taken in a supplement form. And then the early clinical studies went through with CoQ10, but we've always been fighting the absorption. First, we had a straight powder CoQ10. We knew that it was a fat-soluble vitamin, just like vitamin E and vitamin K. As you mentioned, CoQ10 is a ubiquinone. That's the chemical name of CoQ10. And ubiquinones are quinone group-like fatty acids. They sit in the cell membranes. They help metabolize different energy products like electrons and protons for ATP, cellular energy, and they are overall great antioxidant molecules against free radicals, because we've talked a lot about free radicals, and those are electrical chemical species in the body. So CoQ10 is really amazing and diverse in the body, and we know that at about age 45, CoQ10 levels drop dramatically, and then, of course, within cardiovascular events or cardiovascular diseases, CoQ10 is dropped really dramatically. Now, with the new generation of statin drugs, we artificially drop our menaquinones and our quinones, which are the ubiquinones.
And beta blockers as well.
And beta blockers as well. So we went from a powdered CoQ10, and then we knew it was fat-soluble, so we put it in a base of fatty acids. This increased absorption about 40%. When we found the ubiquinol, which is the reduced form of CoQ10, this is after ubiquinone. You digest it, your body converts it into ubiquinol, which is the active circulating form of CoQ10. So we were able to find a stabilized form of that to get straight ubiquinol into the system, and absorption levels now are about 80%. I mean,
fantastic.
So we're able to administer reasonably easy doses of CoQ10 to patients that have serious cardiovascular issues like congestive heart failure. And what is really great about this study is that they were patients that were in a clinical study for about 7 years that had really dramatic reduced CoQ10 levels. Their serum levels were below 2.5 micrograms per milliliter, and this is a very critical state. And so they were transferred into the ubiquinol study, and they were not progressing in the ubiquinone study. And once they were transferred into the ubiquinol study, they progressed dramatically.
Well, and to distill this down for listeners out there, we want to basically emphasize that you can walk into virtually any health food store in America and purchase something called CoQ10. You can virtually pick up any health magazine, any study or research-based scientific nutrition magazine or book. A lot of great nutrition books out there these days. Yeah. And you can read a great deal of remarkable information regarding CoQ10, and that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. And again, there are different forms of CoQ10, and what Catherine is sharing with us is that the absorption factor for ubiquinol is 80% greater than ubiquinone or the plain old. When you look at your CoQ10s from label to label, brand to brand, shelf to shelf out there, there is a significant difference.
Yeah, with CoQ10, it's all about absorption, and I've seen a lot of highly priced CoQ10s out there on the market that are not using an effective delivery method. So it really does come down to quality, and you want to look at a CoQ10 that is backed by clinical studies.
And when we're talking about CoQ10, you're going to want to make sure that you understand and appreciate its potential, because I've got in front of me just notes from one study in particular from Australia at the Alfred Hospital in Melbourne, a clinical trial, 362 patients, where it lowered the systolic blood pressure rate an average of 17 points, diastolic 10 points. Also, a remarkable study that was published recently in the Neurology Digest, and it was regarding a May 2001 study about how CoQ10 protects the brain from neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's. Another study regarding the mitochondrial disorder protection, so protection from mitochondrial disorders, a longer lifespan, also animal studies, a number of different animal studies where it dramatically increased lifespan. Also published in the 2005 Journal of Neurology, migraine prevention, so the idea of stopping migraines, and that was in a double-blind study. And now, of course, we're talking this evening about the most recent breakthrough research, which is absolutely remarkable, regarding advanced congestive heart failure. So when we're talking about CoQ10, we're talking about a fast-rising superstar here, and a lot of remarkable information regarding CoQ10. We're going to share that with you this evening. Stay right where you are. We'll take a short little break. Right in our area, we are fortunate to have one of the top martial arts schools in the country, Personal Best Karate. Personal Best has been recognized for their community involvement, professional staff development, character building programs, and exciting educational curriculum. Personal Best stands at the top of their industry. 5 locations offering personalized professional instruction. Not sure if karate is right for you? At no obligation, the staff at Personal Best will guide you in a private introductory program to see if karate is indeed the right fit to help you achieve your goals and meet your needs. What does karate at Personal Best teach you? Character building, success habits, helps you get in shape, relieve stress, self-control, setting goals, and, of course, self-defense. Personal Best's goal is to create successful, contributing members of society through the practice of the martial arts at Personal Best. Mr. Chris Rappold is, of course, the founder of Personal Best Karate. He tells me his greatest joy of all is to see the personal transformation in each and every student. Bring out your best with Personal Best Karate. Telephone number 508-285-5425. That's 508-285-5425. Locations in Norton, Foxborough, Southeaston, Franklin, in Taunton. That's personal best.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health. This year, let us help you save money. Make every dollar count. Come by our stores in Quincy Center and Route 53 in Hanover. We've got everything you need year-round. Organic produce, natural groceries, vitamins, and health and beauty items for everyone on your list. Visit us at goodhealthnaturalfood.com for monthly specials and new cutting-edge products. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for joining Mark Mincola for the Natural Health and Healing Show. Call Mark each Sunday evening at 8 o'clock for the latest nutritional news on 95.9 WATD.
Well, I've closed out your show again. We're having those retrograde problems that Pat talked about.
Sorry, we love that tune.
I knew Mercury was in retrograde.
It is, but you know something? I love Acoustic Alchemy. That's the name of the band that does the opener. For anybody ever wonders about the opening and closing for the show,
Really?
and the bumper tunes,
I didn't know
it's all from Acoustic Alchemy, a
Wow.
great jazz band, and we love hearing that. So thanks, Larry. I enjoyed that little refreshing pause.
Good. I'm out of I'm out of trouble.
Yeah, indeed. All right, so we're chatting with you all this evening about a remarkable food supplement called CoQ10, and Catherine Foley, of course, from Jar Formulas is here. But there's one thing, Catherine, we spoke for a moment or two off air here. I want to just bring this interesting little story in that I found today from Vitamin Express, but it goes on. A 65, this is actually by Kanika, manufacturer of one of the forms of CoQ10.
That's where ours is from.
Is that right?
Yeah.
A 65-year-old gentleman with advanced ischemic cardiomyopathy was on maximal medical therapy in June of 2006. He had low heart function and was receiving 450 milligrams of a soybean oil-based CoQ10 that revealed a level that was sub-therapeutic.
Yeah.
He was then given the ubiquinol formulation at exactly the same dosage of 450 milligrams per day. 3 months later, in September of 2006, his CoQ10 level had increased dramatically. Further tests 1 month later showed a dramatic improvement in heart function, and he no longer required any diuretics.
Wow.
By January of 2007, his improvement was great enough that he became quite active and required no further hospitalizations. This case study ended with physicians stating, "The single case represents very striking improvement that I have not seen before in 25 years of cardiology practice. We have now repeated and are continuing to treat several other patients with end-stage or far advanced congestive heart failure with similar remarkable findings." So again, there it is, folks, in a nutshell, the power of ubiquinol.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. And I think that maybe just a quick overview for people of cardiomyopathy and congestive heart failure. Cardiomyopathy, or when you're looking at myopathy in the body of any tissue system, it's when the cells have become inflamed for such a long period of time that they actually get bigger, and then they actually lose their capacity to function for energy.
Mm-hmm.
And as we know with CoQ10, CoQ10 is a part of the mitochondria, which is the energy producing cell in the body. So cardiomyopathy is a general loss of the energy capacity of the muscle tissue to pump.
That's exactly right. And for folks that don't know, 95% of human energy at a cellular level is through this ATP response.
Yeah.
95%.
Yeah.
So it's
that's
pretty significant.
And if your heart can't pump, it's oxygen, it's blood, which means nutrients to the extremities, circulation, oxygen to the lungs, tissue, and surface of the skin and brain. And then congestive heart failure is basically extremely advanced cardiomyopathy. It's the tissue is so inflamed, becomes so kind of like ischemic that the lining of the heart builds up. And when you look at somebody with congestive heart failure, if you look at post-mortem, their heart is almost
Enlarged.
2 or 3 times larger than a normal heart. It's alarming to see.
Well, and, in terms of the highest concentration of CoQ10, you're talking about the liver, the brain,
Yeah.
the heart. That's where the highest concentration of CoQ10 is. So these really vital tissue areas in your body require this CoQ10. It's a natural nutrient manufactured by our body, and of course there are a variety of reasons as we age why we lose those levels.
Right.
Stress, viruses, bacteria, there's a lot of reasons why the levels become diminished. But one thing is for certain, there have been a number of people over the years that have been aided by CoQ10, folks with high blood pressure, peptic ulcers, periodontal disease, migraine headaches, muscular dystrophy, and, of course, heart disease, as we just pointed out. Okay. So you were actually, was it last year that you were overseas over in Europe at the...
I was, yeah.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Well, where was I? I was a lot of places.
The CoQ10, wasn't there a big CoQ10 conference in France? Is that right?
In France, I was at the Lactoferrin conference.
Lactoferrin, that's right. I was thinking that was a CoQ10.
But we did have the International CoQ10 Symposium.
That's what I'm thinking.
As well. So that's one of the things that JARO is really involved in, and we work with Dr. Gianpaolo Lautaro. Dr. Lautaro is the last surviving member of the team that discovered Q10 in
1957 at the University of Wisconsin. Dr. Fred Crane, wasn't it?
Yep, there was a team of them. They worked for Merck Pharmaceutical as well.
Yes, I remember that.
I mean, yeah. So, it's just...
It's come full circle,
yeah,
has
it has come full circle.
Wow.
But the International CoQ10 Symposium and Dr. Lautaro is tantamount in the reason why a lot of cardiologists recommend and acknowledge CoQ10 as a viable dietary supplement. Mm-hmm. And in places like Japan and Germany, where dietary supplements are strictly pharmaceutical, CoQ10 is one of the number one prescribed dietary supplements out there because they know how valuable it is. But the International CoQ10 Symposium is an accumulation of all the clinical studies that have been done on CoQ10 in the last 2
and it's remarkable. The booklet that you brought back that you so kindly shared with me is truly amazing.
Yeah, and Dr. Lautaro is I think he's in his mid-90s or early 90s.
And obviously taking CoQ10.
Obviously, I mean, and we, we meet him at the very least once a year, and he is up at dawn running past all of us.
Amazing. Well, and in fact, of course, as we pointed out a little while ago, it does slow down the aging process by increasing the efficiency and expediency with which oxygen is directed to the cells. We've got Tom on the line. Tom, welcome. Hello, Tom, are you there?
Larry hung up on him.
I was just talking to Larry.
We were just having a conversation. I forgot about the show.
We had a good conversation, but that's all right, guys. Don't worry about us. Hey, I want to throw 2 questions at you.
Sure.
You guys talked about a product back a few weeks ago, and I'm going to have trouble saying it, so I'm sure you guys can jump right in and help me out. Saccharomyces
boulardii.
Boulardii.
Yeah. Saccharomyces boulardii.
Plus MOS?
Yep, plus MOS.
What is MOS?
MOS is mono-oligosaccharides. It's a very small polysaccharide fiber that they put in the capsule to feed the bacteria. MOS has been used in some clinical studies, primarily in veterinary medicine, to increase immune system response in animals. They are now pursuing clinical studies to show improved health benefit for humans as well. So there may be some more data coming out about the benefits of MOS. But MOS is very similar to FOS, if you've seen that in some of your other probiotic formulas. Right. FOS is fructooligosaccharides.
Okay.
So they use the MOS with Saccharomyces boulardii because Saccharomyces boulardii is a yeast, so it metabolizes a smaller polysaccharide fiber.
And the other question I have is when we were talking about oregano oil,
mm-hmm.
How much are we supposed to take that's supposed to help with UTIs?
Well, I would recommend 10 drops in 3 ounces of water 2 to 3 times a day.
And do you have any recommendations how to take it so it doesn't so I don't make this face like this?
I wish I did. I think that you might be able to cut it a little bit with some jarro pomegranate juice or something like that. Take some of the edge off of it.
That is so nasty. My father-in-law takes it like it's nothing.
I take it directly in the mouth orally. I don't even put it in water.
Be a macho man to do that stuff.
No, you get used to it, believe me.
You know what you can do? You can add it to if you are having some pasta sauce or, olive oil.
Absolutely.
Add
You
it to
wouldn't miss a
olive
beat.
oil. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, it's lovely.
But that's pretty powerful stuff.
It is very powerful
I think I'd be macho and put it under my tongue.
Well, the research on that stuff, if you want to look at some interesting stuff, was actually done down at Georgetown University. And they did extensive studies on, they isolated the carvacrol.
Yeah.
And the carvacrol is, of course, the active natural antibiotic ingredient that's in the oregano oil. And again, Georgetown University researchers found that it was compared against Salmonella, E. coli bacteria, and I can't remember one other bacteria, but they compared it with vancomycin, streptomycin, penicillin, found out that it was equal to the task.
Oh my gosh.
And Dr. Harry Preuss, Preuss, is the researcher that did that work. So you can look that up on the internet. But Dr. Harry Preuss from Georgetown University made it very clear that in their studies that the oregano oil was equal to the task at fighting these horrible bacteria as penicillin, vancomycin, streptomycin without the side effects.
Do they actually go fight each other, or do they attach and then you get rid of it that way?
I believe it's...
You know how D-mannose works?
No, it's a natural antibiotic is what it is. The carvacrol is actually an antibiotic.
Yeah.
So if I have, we'll say, what do you call that bacteria that's in the bladder?
Well, I mean, you could be any one of a number of bacteria.
Okay, so whatever it is,
Yeah.
and that goes in there, it actually kills it?
Yes, I mean, the carvacrol has antibiotic properties. It's really a very powerful phytonutrient. I'm not sure if it's a polyphenol, which family it belongs to, but it has antibiotic properties. So it directly, the good news is, of course, that it doesn't disturb good protective bacteria.
Right.
So, the reason that they say that it doesn't have no negative side effects, it doesn't compromise your floral bacteria.
So you say 10 drops per day, or is that...
10 drops in 3 ounces of water. Cut it with a little bit of the pomegranate juice or something like that to get a little antioxidant boot up there and to, cut some of that pungency.
How many times a day?
I would say 2 to 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's one, oregano oil should be like in the first aid kit, everybody's cabinet.
I agree. Well, the other thing I want to say about natural antibiotic strategies here is the Linus Pauling, of course, was the remarkable Nobel Prize researcher who did the remarkable vitamin C study after study over the years and published a remarkable compendium of information. And Linus Pauling made it very clear in his Nobel Prize research on vitamin C that he took 20 grams a day to fight infection and 10 grams a day to prevent it. So that's 10,000 milligrams of vitamin C for prevention of germs and 20,000 to fight germs. And I can tell you that...
he had a good case of diarrhea, though, right?
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's the old, what they call the old Bronson's test, which is you increase your increments by 1,000 until at which point you do have loose stools, and then you back off by 1. So if you find yourself taking 10, 12, 13,000 and you don't have loose stools and your urine is clear, you're using every iota of vitamin C that you're taking in.
Yeah.
And vitamin C being calcium sorbate?
Well, that's one form. I mean, if you want an alkaline kind of vitamin C, you could use sodium ascorbate or calcium ascorbate. But there are other, there's a number of different types of vitamin C that you can rely on.
I want to keep my alkaline it's tough just to get the alkaline level up.
Yeah, if your pH is relatively stable to begin with, then vitamin C is not going to change it negatively. Okay. But if you're starting off with a very acid pH, then you're probably wise to use either calcium or sodium ascorbate.
Okay, good. That's the thing, is like it takes so long to get the pH up, and then when you get it up...
Yeah, you don't want to sabotage it.
As much as possible, right. Well, thank you, people.
You're very welcome.
You guys have a great show.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye. All right, so, when we talk about immunity, one of the things we were just discussing here is the immune properties of vitamin C, the immune properties of carvacrol and oregano oil. But I think also, back to where we were here with CoQ10, people tend not to think about CoQ10 from the perspective of stimulating the immune system, protecting brain cells. But again, it is indeed a very, very powerful immunomodulator.
Right.
So people want to know that this remarkable supplement has had study after study in a variety of different areas, really touting its potential as, in this case, an immune stimulator, an immunomodulator.
Yeah, and if you have the energy to get up and go, you're healthier.
Boy, you can sure say that again.
Right.
Absolutely true. All right, let's see here. We're going to discuss when we come back from this break a little bit more in depth, a little bit more detailed information regarding some of the research that actually Dr. Lataro and Jaro formulas have been associated with in recent years. So stay right where you are. We're going to take a little short break, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Catherine from Jaro Formulas. We're happy to announce our new partnership with Dr. Mark Mincola. When we started out in this industry, our intentions were to bring good quality nutrition, cutting-edge science, and reasonably priced products to the market, and also encourage people to take an active role in their own health and wellness. Jaro Formulas has been in business for over 20 years and is considered an industry leader. Jaro is incredibly active in consumers' rights to access dietary supplements and creating good quality manufacturing standards for our industry. When we first met Dr. Mincola, we knew that we had a true partner and an ally in the mission of creating a happy, healthy, and wealthy New England through the sharing of knowledge and enthusiasm for health and healing. And we're excited for the world of knowledge that there is that we can share with you all. As we take this journey together with great partners, great energy, and looking forward to a great future for all of those that are encouraged to come.
Hi, this is Laura from Good Health Natural Foods, proud sponsor of the Health and Healing Show. We're all about smart, simple, and affordable nutrition. Let our lifestyle consultants help you and your family keep your resolutions and achieve all your personal goals this year. Feel good and look your very best today. For everything natural, organic, and economical, it's Good Health Natural. Thanks for listening.
All right, that was, of course, the voice of Laura Pratt from Good Health Natural Foods, and I believe we're going to have Laura either in studio or on the phone next Sunday. We're going to talk about cancer next Sunday, and specifically we're going to work a little bit with lung cancer. And Good Health has a remarkable new product regarding folks who smoke, and obviously are incurring risk factors for lung cancer with smoking. And she has some really interesting information regarding this new product that will help folks who don't want to smoke anymore get off the cigarettes, get off the tobacco. And we're going to tie in a lot of information regarding lung cancer, et cetera. So we look forward to seeing Laura Pratt next Sunday and to chat with you about cancer and specifically about lung cancer and to try to help as many folks get off tobacco as we possibly can. So it should be a very interesting program next week, but let's get back on point here. We wanted to chat a little bit about the research that has come about of late regarding CoQ10. Why don't you bring us up to date with some of that?
Well, so the latest clinical study was done on CoQ10 and congestive heart failure, and there has been a long-term clinical study going on with about 36 patients, and there were a certain group of patients that were not progressing. Their serum Q levels weren't rising. You know, it's one thing to say they weren't progressing, they weren't showing, reduced LDL oxidation or increased VO2, volume oxygen exchange, all of these different parameters of good cardiac health. They couldn't get their CoQ10 levels up in their blood, even with supplementation. So they transferred those patients on to ubiquinol, the reduced form of CoQ10, and across the board they all showed an increase of serum Q levels, which is dramatic because these patients were at the maximal level of medical treatment for congestive heart failure, and at the maximal level of intervention.
Well, and isn't that the real crux of this, that as we age, our ability to convert ubiquinone into ubiquinol really breaks down? We don't have that conversion ability as we lose a great deal of that as we age.
Yeah, and, it's the enzyme HMG co-reductase.
Coenzyme coenzyme A reductase. HMG coenzyme A reductase. There we go.
That does the conversion, and your body will kind of go back and forth between ubiquinone to ubiquinol as it transfers one electron to the other. But the most effective form of CoQ10 is ubiquinol. So this is the on. It goes from kind of on to on. And then, ubiquinol is that I'm on, I'm producing ATP, I'm huge, I'm active. So it all depends on that enzyme. We are so biodiverse as human beings that some of us may have that process effectively, just genetical. It's genetic. It's just natural. Some of us may not. Depends on liver health as well.
Well, one of the questions that I'd like to bring to the table regarding that is that, the coenzyme A reductase is, coenzyme A is acetylcholine, is it not?
Yeah.
So what is the end result of ubiquinol conversion with folks who maybe supplement with acetylcholine?
I'm not sure if those clinical studies have been done, if that would aid.
But from a purely, as the crow flies, as they say, does it make logical sense to assume that if somebody is properly supplied and efficiently absorbing acetylcholine, that they may have a greater level of efficiency? Or, could we even maybe deduce that if folks were taking both ubiquinol and as a co-supplement with ubiquinol to increase efficiency, maybe some acetylcholine?
It's really interesting because, remember, just about a month ago, there was that clinical study released on CDP choline, citicoline, and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when we do clinical studies on a compound, obviously CDP choline, we think of neurovascular tissue, but sometimes the mechanism by which we do that is not necessarily fully known, the full circle, all the biochemistry involved in it. There could most definitely, as you mentioned, be a coenzyme Q ubiquinol factor in that.
There is a certain degree of logic there, though, of sequencing there, biochemically speaking. But I'd like to. I'm going to look into
That's
that.
pretty huge, Mark.
Yeah.
Those are two really huge clinical studies that have been released in the last month. That, as you mentioned, there may be a really close,
interesting link there. Yeah. And I think too, folks need to realize that when we talk about cardiovascular health, there's also a great deal, as we pointed out earlier in the broadcast, of research